Oh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. All right, we're jumping in already. We got a cute matchup here. I'm trying to simultaneously post links to my Discord because I'm trying to find all of the streams. We're jumping in here with, which PQ is this? Dungeons and Javas in Colorado Springs. All right, so we got Piet. There's a little bit of glare here, so we're going to try and wing it. Palpatine Blue, which I think is going to get a lot of help in the next set. But we also have Piet Blue, which is... It was one of the big things that, you know, everybody thought this was going to be a thing. And then it turned out to not really be a thing. Oh, man, that looks like a Village People. I'm going to guess Queel since this came out on turn 1. It's dealing 2 damage and not dying, so my guess is Queel. Yep. So Childson coming off of it. This is the ideal start. For those of you not familiar with the old Flip Palpatine, this is something that you do want to open with. This sets up that Childson, which they just drew off of the Queel trigger. So I'm going to try and keep repeating this so I can remember as well. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that's Village People. There's a shield token on it. And then Queel was the turn 1 play. So you're getting card draw. You're going to now be able to run your Queel in if the Piet player doesn't sacrifice their Pike Sentinel into the Village People, which I think is the correct line here in order to try and stop the flips. But at the same time, it may not matter simply because you're then drawing cards off Queel and you're getting later in the game. Now, thanks to the resupply, we are going to get that potential flip from Palpatine. The big thing here is I'm not sure who has a better late game. Because, obviously, yeah, we are going to sack it. You do have Lukes. You do probably have your own Star Destroyers, but not nearly as many Star Destroyers as the Piet is going to. And that's going to pose somewhat of a challenge here. Hopefully I'm not blocking anything. I'm only looking at the overlay now because I did not expect... I have all of the PQs up right now, and I wasn't quite prepared. I'm still working on my coffee, on my second coffee of the day. Puppy is curled up behind me. Good boy. He's being a good boy. He refuses to lay in the bed we have for him, but... things that nobody cares about right now. We did get a Power of the Dark Side. That's going to remove that Pike Sentinel. It preserves the shield, which is like, who cares? But the thing is, you do need to get the Pike Sentinel out of there or your future powers are irrelevant. Plus, well, you don't want to play... I think I would have gone with Childson this turn, personally. You already have the anti-Power of the Dark Side for yourself in the form of Village People. You don't care about the Ground Sentinel because the Village People will be able to trade with it at some point. You also have this big threat that allows you to clear out, it'll take 2 attacks, but you could clear out Piet so that it slows down the ramp a little bit, or it just threatens base because it's a 6-power attacker. And the Power of the Dark Side gives you a play to make next turn to flip in a more, like you could play 2 cards next turn. So we get a Rivals Fall, wow, in order to clear that out. That looks like a Childson. So Yoda, Queel, Redemption, another Childson. I'm guessing Childson because we saw one, and what else would you be revealing cards for? I don't know if that's the entirety of their hand. That does allow the flip, as we were saying. Pushing a little bit of damage. And we create a Clone Trooper, thereby providing Power of the Dark Side protection. So I had looked away briefly to look at the dog, who is now about to start snoozing. He's such a good boy. He's a very good boy. But I looked away, and maybe the Power of the Dark Side was actually to kill... Yeah, the Power of the Dark Side must have been to kill Piet. So I take back what I was saying earlier, because that makes a lot more sense than playing the Childs in that turn. Definitely want to remove it, because the Queel traded with the Pike Sentinel, and then you power the big guy, the big body, the big boy. All right, Clone goes away thanks to Avenger. I'm going to get him for 6. 6 resources available, but we need a hero card here. Actually, no, you could flip right now. You could flip, given that the clone, died to the Avenger. But on 6 resources, unless you have a Fel, this could get a little awkward. And you don't necessarily want to be on Villainy for the 7 resource turn because of the potential for Luke. Like, this is where the flips start to get weird, because you want to be on hero for 7, but like you kind of want to draw a card here. So I think that was another Queel that came down. He moved to the bed. A little more comfy. He doesn't really fit in this bed anymore. He's still a puppy, but I bought this bed for him when he was like itty bitty puppy. And he's a rescue, so we didn't know what the breed was, and we didn't know exactly like how big he was going to be. We're just like, nah, it's fine. That is a barrage for 10. That's just going to wipe the board. If people want to see pictures of the dog, hit me up in Discord. I post pictures in my Discord all the time, so. All right, so without another power, you could flip this turn to have the cheaper power. I'm assuming that there are more resources hiding underneath down here. Is that a Luke? Yeah, there's 7 resources tapped, so exhausted. So I think that's a Luke. Uh-oh, little earthquake action. It's got to be a Luke there. Which I presume that's what that marker is. Yep, it was a Luke. That's a lot of damage, and this is kind of the concern. I don't hate the early power play, Power of the Dark Side, because otherwise this would have happened a turn sooner, thanks to the Piet stuff. Yet nonsense. But this is the problem. How are you going to deal with that Avenger short of your own Avenger? The deck does run Super Laser Blast sometimes, usually at least one. Could run CAD. I know some CAD Bane unit. I know some people are on that. They're off that. They love it. They don't. Getting to Villainy side kind of tells me that we're going to see something like that. But even if you temporarily remove it, you're playing against Blue Villain. Odds are they are going to have a lot of removal too in order to just clean out said CAD. And it's going to sound a lot more challenging than it actually is. I mean, Fels, we haven't seen a Power of the Dark Side out of our Piet player. But there is the second Power of the Dark Side. That means we can flip back to hero. I'm going to assume we have 4, 5, maybe 6 resources open. But our Piet player, 2 things can happen. One, they could mill out the Chancellor player, because there's a lot of things that you can't fit everything in the deck, and a lot of them are not running Vigilance themselves. A lot of them are not running Restock, and you draw way more cards than comparable Blue Villains. The other thing is they could just play a single threat a turn, every single turn until you die, because you have to respect every single Star Destroyer. It doesn't matter if it's a Relentless, a Devastator, an Avenger, whatever. And eventually you just won't have removal. Now, it does look like there was a Luke that came out, I think, but they played 2 cards, so it can't be a Luke. It's kind of tough with the glare, but we work with what we got. I almost had a good look at what the second card was. 3, 6, 9. I'm trying to gauge it by the resource count of what it could be, what it might not be. Are we getting a Devastator? Counting up that many resources looks like a Devastator. It's a second Avenger, so we're sacking whatever that was. That was probably a clone token. That was a clone token. So there's 7 damage on base. There's a shield on this. Oh, so it's a Lom Pike, because we see a shield going on the Avenger as well, which is fine. All the removal that's going to come out of Chancellor is most likely either -X from Luke, or it's going to be a targeted removal that's just going to snipe it. So I was debating earlier when we first loaded in. Like, is this who's favored in this matchup? And I gotta be honest, this is probably seems to be Piet. Also, by the way, I just realized I'm gonna move me. I didn't realize I was covering the logo for the team whose stream this is. This is the Colorado Cantina Crew, and it's hosted by Next Gen Gaming is the store. How do I rotate this? I'm going to rotate me. Just give me a second. Here, we'll hang off the side instead. Because I could look up the whole time. But yeah, the Colorado Cantina Crew is the one streaming this event. Always want to give a shout out to them. Whoever happens to be presenting the event in question. Not a ton of damage done to either player. But maybe this Palp player is grinding out the Piet player. We do see, and as I was adjusting myself, people may have missed it, there was no glory played in order to remove that Avenger. Getting a top target going down on what I presume that's the Lom Pike. The card next to it is likely Childson. We did see a second in hand. And on top of that, excuse me, it has XP on it. So I have no clue what the third one is. Bazine, most likely, since we're looking at the hand. Barrage, Rivals Fall, some event, and some other card that I can't tell. Looks like 2 barrages. Getting rid of Rivals Fall. Yeah, I can respect that. You do need to stick some threats. This other card on the end is potentially a clone. We have... Wait, was it a second Rivals Fall? Or did you draw that Rivals Fall? Either way, bye-bye Lom Pike, which, yeah, that kind of makes sense, because the shield, if you're holding a Devastator, you could at least kapow the Childson, just blow him up. We're once again in the guessing game. It's a blue unit. I know everyone's shocked. All right, we're flipping there, poking for 2. Actually, now it's a clone, so this is likely not a clone. I wasn't in focus on the on the window, so you couldn't see where the cursor was. I don't know. That reminds me, I need to install... I do have a Telestrator set up. I have no idea what that unit on the end is. I do have a Telestrator kind of cobbled together in my OBS setup, but there have been recent ones that are like real ones that you can install, so quote-unquote real ones. Actual plugins for it, which I think is something that should... any caster who happens to be watching or listening to this, no one's watching or listening to this, but Telestrators, I think they would be really cool. Do some John Maddenisms. Pershing's going to pop himself, it would appear, draw some cards. This one's a long one. Be gone, long one. Shout out to my Robin Hood fans. Nope. Pershing's sticking around. Getting hit for... I'm not sure how much. I think they were at 11, so got hit for 5? No, that wasn't... I'm not sure. Super Laser Blast. Well, all those units don't matter. Did we overextend as our... It wasn't Bazine back then. Oh, it's just Snoke? Okay. Maybe Palpatine does have an inevitability here. We knew the redemption was in hand from a gazillion turns ago. It looked like Piet was doing well, but maybe they just kind of ran out of gas. Without the ability to stick a unit on the board. I'm going to be honest. I don't know why you transferred any damage to the redemption. That doesn't make any sense to me, because your life total is mostly irrelevant. We're hitting a random card? What could you have played that made you discard randomly? I don't even... All right, I'm going to have to look this up while we're watching this, because that's going to bother me. I don't... Offhand, I can't think of anything in Palpatine that would make you do that. Sort by aspect. It would have to be blue or yellow. And it has to be a unit. Lothal Insurgent, maybe? That's something I haven't seen in Palpatine decks in a long time. That was one of the OG 3/2s for 2, both in terms of the game as well as this particular list, because it allows you to trade with some early stuff. Devastator's going to clear out Redemption. Yeah, it's got to be Lothal Insurgent, right? Oh, the Avenger follow-up. Back-breaking. Avenger coming down and saying, get wrecked, nerd. Ooh, I missed round 1 at one of the events. Boba 4 Data Vault beat Han1 Green. That's actually pretty sick, and that's a matchup that I thought was really bad for Boba, at least theory crafting-wise, so I'd be very curious to watch that back. Piet player kind of in the tank, it looks like. Gold players on, roughly 11 billion resources. Texas with a $sign, if you will. One comment on their overlay. Personally, I think I'd like it better if you didn't truncate the names. If they just expanded this, but if they did, then it would probably cut off too much. You know what I mean? So it's not. I'm noticing more thinking about overlays as I stream stuff, and I have a PQ or 2 that I'm going to stream. I did last season. I'm going to try and do maybe 2 this season. But taking more note of these sort of things. 3 bodies on the board. We have a resupply carrier coming down. Short of a super laser blast, it almost feels as though our Piet player's locked out. I mean, they're just dead right now, right? Because you can't barrage, and you have I don't know what exactly is on the ground, but you're at 29 right now. So you got to be cooked. They're ping in Discord, trying to figure out what's going on. And on to the next game. So that one went back and forth. I really thought Piet was in the driver's seat, but our PAL player was able to claw it back despite multiple Star Destroyers. Able to string the removal together very well. This is a complicated deck to play for obvious reasons, and navigating matchups, you really need to know it. So well played, GG. Oh, we got another one. All right, I want to see this. So this is Atlas Games Planetary Qualifier, and it's Atlas Games is the one streaming it. So we got Boba Green, specifically Boba Data Vault versus Anakin Colossus. This is a matchup that I don't love for Boba. But it is a deck that I'm heavily considering. I mean, I'm going to be on Vader until I get my qualification, my buy. I was so close. And then, I mean, I got to be honest. I choked it. I choked it against Alex in the top 4. This was back at Rogue State a month ago now. I don't know. It's a while ago now. And I played him in round 1. I don't know what we're doing. Why are we showing? Just for, I guess these players know each other, but I choked the top 4 match. I don't think it was unlikely that I win anyway. But I took some really risky lines because I felt desperate at those points in the game. Not necessarily because the player I was playing against, which is also, I guess it plays in a little bit. Like Alex is one of, if not the best player in the game. You could debate between like him and Wu or whatever, but if you're coming up with a top 3 list, he's in there. And I felt I had to do certain things in order to try and take the game and just hope that like, oh, well, he doesn't draw this and then this will get me there. Plus the board state, the way it turned out, it felt like it was tough. So as a result, I ended up missing on a pass down by anyway. But regardless, let's get back to this game. We get a Kylo matched by a C-3PO. Super laser tech, no open fire. Interesting. Okay. So Anakin's trying to draw this out. I would have felt like you needed more threats. Like I would rather have advanced a body that turn, I think. Excuse me. Then again, it's possible that you don't have anything. Now, we get... Ooh, draw the Yoda off the C-3PO, super laser attack and run in. Daring Raid to finish off C-3PO. Players are going pretty damn fast here. All right. That's Fire Spray. Yeah, these players definitely know each other. They wouldn't be playing this quick. Doing 3. That, not quite enough to kill the Fire Spray. Close, but no cigar. And that's kind of a big deal. Because we have the ramp, which means that Boba can deploy this turn. Now, do we get the early Boba deploy just to snipe the Yoda or not? In this case, no. So we're just going to go base. We're going to deal the extra. That's telling me that there's an additional ship in hand, or we're just trying to drag out, make you do something. But you need at least one other play this turn because Yoda can just attack. You could always then dirtle with an Anakin activation in order to delay the potential Boba deploy. So Force Choke goes, obviously finishing off the Fire Spray. Boba going ground immediately. That allows Yoda to trade in. Ooh, Bombardment naked on the board for 8 to base. That's 18 already. 22? Interesting that there was no deploy to the ship. I like this a lot better than going to the ship. There's too many risks with that many resources open. I don't want to say this 100%. Is that a third Force Choke or Force Throw? I think that was a third Force Throw with a Kylo in hand, and that you do not want to see that. So Anakin can deploy, but another bombardment is going to be the ball game. You're already at 26. 9 attack Anakin. This is a quick clock. Ooh, Poe coming down. Can the Boba player close this out? Because now, with the health that's on the board and a naked board state, unless you have no Devastator, you kind of need a Devastator or something at this stage in order to close this game out. That looks like a Tantive in hand. We're flinging 2 at the... Oh, no, we're making them discard. That's a good play. Only 1 card in hand. Make them discard. Anakin just going face. Playing the Tantive. Yeah, and this looks like it's an Anakin's court to lose. And to be honest, like a bombardment doesn't even do anything here. You need direct damage to get the last 4. You could draw... Okay, so first action... 5, 10, 15, 23. So first action, swing with the super laser tech. Second action, Daring Raid face. Oh, no, you're only at 26. Why was I thinking you were 31? Never mind. It doesn't matter. You're cooked, right? Devastator doesn't get you out of this. You just don't have answers to Poe at this point. Yep. Oh, I thought they were scooping him up. Two threats on the ground means that you're... Whoop. Sorry. That one was me. If it cut out there for a second, that was me. I can put me back on the ceiling again because I'm covering the clock. Because I'm switching between the streams, I need to be in a different spot every time. Yeah, I think our Boba player's cooked. We're going to stick with this game because I do want to see more Boba Green. Need to see what other players are doing. Oh, the Anakin player's up a game, so we may not be sticking with this anyway because I just noticed the score. And that looks like we are picking up the cards. Players probably discussing the game. Yeah, this is not a matchup that you really want to see as Boba. Anakin's pretty tough. Obviously closes the game out. There is a very narrow window to try and do things, but it's a tough spot to be in. GG. All right, so we'll swap back here. We're back to Palpatine Piet with what looks like a yellow unit. I don't know. I'm sorry. I legitimately don't know. Colorado Cantina crew coming at you here. We got a Village Protector coming down. That entire game was played while these players were sideboarding. Hashtag just saying. Real talk. The other guys played super fast. Oh, it's Lothal Insurgent again. We determined that. So that probably is the card we saw earlier. Oh, boy. I scratched his belly, and I disturbed his snoozle. Now he's looking at me. He's glaring at me. You're a good boy. He's going back to sleep. I need to set up. I have another webcam, and I used to have it set up when I would stream. I would have the dog cam set up so that you could see Harley, my good girl, who has since gone over the Rainbow Bridge. But Noodle is the new addition to the family. As is that Super Laser Tech getting added to our Piet Players family. The Village Protector beats. Lothal Insurgent beatdown. Resource 4, we're getting some 2-cost guy. It's a Bazine. Wait, what? Oh, it's probably a second Lothal Insurgent. Piet player accidentally revealing their hand. Okay, I was about to say, why did the Piet player draw 2 cards, assuming it was a Lothal Insurgent, but is that a May? I don't think it's a May, but it looks like no other cards are played. If you played another card, each opponent, yeah, it's not a May. So we have a merciless contest here. That's going to enable some Palpatine flips. It was, in fact, another Lothal Insurgent. I'm a little surprised that that was chosen. I mean, Piet can clear them. And I guess assuming you're running takedown. Ooh, a power. Now decision time. Because the thing is you do kind of need a clock. Okay, so it looked like the initial decision was the village people, but instead both insurgents are going to bite the dust, keeping the village people alive. Oh, there you go, Power of the Dark Side. That's what we saw in game 1 that I misspoke about. Power of the Dark Side cleans up the Piet. This is something that's strange, because a lot of people will ignore Piet. It's like it's 7 health. It's not super challenging, maybe not very challenging, but it is a challenge to remove comparatively, especially that potentially early in the game if they ramp or something. But delaying the Devastator, the Avenger, those sort of things by an additional turn, even though they have the native ramp, is important. Spoken as at least at this stage, primarily aggro player. So we got the Relief Runner coming down, 4/6 with Restore. It's really just a body at this point that you can barrage off of next turn. It will put some pressure on, but as we saw in game 1, it seems like Palpatine can really grind this out. That's a top target, I guess? So, game 1, I can understand. All right, you're running top targets main deck, concerned about aggro, whatever. I feel like you got to board them out. That being said, maybe there was nothing to bring in. Like, If your sideboard is heavily anti-aggro, maybe additional tools against mid-range, like what are you worried about against control? Like, do you care? Because your entire game plan is I'm just going to play big Star Destroyer, so hopefully I do exactly what I was describing in game 1, which is you just go over the top and every turn slam a Star Destroyer until they die. So you don't necessarily have a sideboard for it. May have come back to bite them because top targets, I mean, you are on 12, so there is damage to heal, but I don't know how important it is here. Either way, we do have a Lurking Tie. Initiative is going to end up with our Piet player, and it looks like it already did. Ooh, Spark of Rebellion. Devastator Barrage. Taking the Devi. I like that. You already got a shield on the village people. The clone token can get hit, but like, who cares? They're going to have to physically punch the Lurking Tie, which all of this was just to set up the Lurking Tie flip. Or the Lurking Tie into flip. Because obviously, the Piet player is not going to leave that alone. If they do, you're very happy as Palpatine. Perilous position in order to kill it. That means that the relief runner can continue to go face. I doubt they're on resource 8 already. Looks like 5 are open. So maybe they are, which means that we can see the barrage if needed. We are getting the barrage. That doesn't seem very effective, I'm not going to lie. 6 for a Rival's Fall. You do get the when defeated? There's a when defeated on that, right? I know it has restore. I'm pretty sure that has a when defeated and they were supposed to heal. Unless they were just leaving it because... Doesn't it heal 3? Yeah, it heals 3, so I think they missed that trigger. Maybe I missed it because I was bouncing between multiple activities. There's the Avenger, slamming it down on the table. That gives you a mediocre heal. A very mid heal. For the record, I hate these token things. I like what Metal Fab is doing. I like the idea of premium tokens. I hate the flipping around of the damage because nobody seems to ever remember, and it's very easy, especially at the end of the day, to mess something up. I've seen tons of people do it. What people need to do is just announce, hey, I'm at this, I'm at X, I'm taking Y damage, therefore, or healing Y damage, and I will end up at Z. And then just make the thing fit instead of like fiddling around with it. People try and do the math, and then I feel like they forget what number they were trying to get to. That being said, I do love the idea of Metal Fab stuff. I just dislike the physical implementation because of the way these things work. I honestly think they would be better if they were double-sided, like the 5 was 5 and the 1 was 1. 3s and 10s, etc. That way they're always the same. It's just me. So resupply carrier into Yoda. I appreciate Palpatine bringing it a little closer to them so there's a little less glare. Get a Bazine, it looks like. That has some glare. One other comment on the overlay. I think that if they moved this player, the Palpatine player's thing, up here, it would be a little bit better. That would maybe necessitate moving their logo. I understand the like logo in the corner for Next Gen Gaming, logo in the corner for the Colorado Cantina crew, and then the players down here. But this is taking up, like, this is obscuring what this card is. Part of it is due to glare. I know. Like, if this was up a little bit, it would be fine, but then it would be invisible because of glare. It's whatever. This is intended as constructive criticism. It's not intended to crap on people. It's like we're at 9 resources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and maybe 8. There might be a 9th one down here that we can't see. We have a Pike Sentinel with what looks like a centipede token on it. That's unsettling. Imagine a silverfish token. Makes my skin crawl thinking about it. All right, putting 2 on there. Dr. Pershing. Yeah, honestly, this Palpatine is putting in work. I mean, I can't imagine that anyone tested truly into Chancellor Palpatine. Like, that is not a deck that's on anyone's radar. And the first few rounds of any given tournament is always going to be a roll of the dice. So you sit down across from a matchup you don't know or necessarily recognize, and it's like, all right, you got me. In this case, it's tough. Typically, I think Piet could probably go over the top of most things. Now, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Piet in general in this particular meta. It's exactly the problem that everybody thought was going to be a problem. You need to have cheaper Star Destroyers, or capital ships, in order to impact the board meaningfully earlier on. It's nice to have the innate resupply. What are we doing here? We played a unit that somehow killed resupply carrier. It's got to be a Luke, right? Second Bazine. Rivals fall. That had to be a Luke. I don't know what else could be there that could have gotten him. Yeah, that's a Luke. And at this stage, at 20 damage, Piet, you really need a super laser blast. And then you have to hope that the Palpatine player is unable to rebuild their board. But if they have a villainy card, they can immediately flip, generate a token, maybe it's a lurking tie, and then you're right back on the back foot where you need multiple cards and you kind of have to remove, like, you got to remove everything from here on out. Because Piet has been unable to get, once you're in the bully position as Piet, you're kind of okay. It looked all right in game one. But fighting from behind here, especially this late in the game, is a struggle. So we have Fleet Interdictor, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's not quite lethal. Actually, it is lethal. If our Piet player doesn't have a heal or removal, Palpatine flip can do, okay, so we barrage. That's a barrage for 8. Killing Luke doesn't help you, though. See, this is the issue. All right, so I think we're just praying that Palpatine does not have a villainy card, because at this stage, yeah, you go to 28. Because the Palpatine flip, when it goes back, it'll deal 2 damage and create a clone. We're playing something. Don't know if it's hero or villain. We're getting in for 4. 2. Ball game. There's a flip. So it must have been a villain. Yeah, I would have thought that Piet had a potentially favorable matchup. Not like, oh, this is a 90-10, but like a little bit favored because of the potentially heavier late game. You have ramp to get to said late game, possibly before the Palpatine player is prepared. Not like they're unprepared, don't understand the matchup, but that they are prepared from a board position state, a hand setup. But very well played. GG. All right, so we're jumping in, looking at Sea Raptor here. Game 1, round 1, Quinlan Tarkentown versus Wait. I'm going to rub my eyes here a little bit, make sure that I'm not going crazy. That's a Phasma Lake Country. That's a thing you can do. That's a deck you can build. That's a bold decision, one might say. It's a bold move there, Cotton. So responding to some stuff in Discord. So we're getting, I think that was Ruthlessness. Actually, that looks more like, yeah, I was going to say Arm to the Teeth. I know there was a Ruthlessness in hand. There are some things happening in this game. I have to assume Phasma has yet to deploy. There's Phasma. I'm not clear on what the 5 resources were spent on. Let's assume 4 were here, but Rokai Gunship is 2. Let's be real. I think anybody who sat down or walked past the table with this setup is going to look at it and go, oh, well, yeah, Quinlan's favorite. It's a deck that we recognize. But I've heard a lot of people praise Phasma. Doesn't appear to get a ton of help in the next set in Legends of the Force. There just aren't that many First Order cards. I wonder maybe post-rotation. If we keep getting for the next 2 sets, set 6 and set 7, a lot of First Order cards, then it's possible that Phasma, or just First Order in general, kind of takes over the Sabine slot when all of the Rebel support rotates out. But we're just under a calendar year away from that. 3/4 of a year. All right, so we get some ping action going. There is 10 damage on Tarkin Town. So, like, it's 4 damage from the TIE Dagger plus Arm to the Teeth. Potentially another 6 damage from Phasma due to the Arm to the Teeth. 7 with the ping. It looks like initiative is with our Quinlan player. I mean, they still have a long road to hoe, to be perfectly honest. Not gonna lie, those Ahsoka sleeves look pretty dope, but if they're like every other art sleeve, they'll work for like one event, because inevitably they will peel. With Tarkin Town not used, assuming it's not used, Plo Koon gonna snipe the Phasma. And that allows for a ping. That's a good clean sweep, eliminating all the threats from our Quinlan player. Yep. And all of a sudden, doesn't quite look so good. Series Officer is a card I love. It's a card that doesn't do great very often, but we'll see. Disabling Fang Fighter, Ruthlessness in hand. That's what we were referencing earlier. I mean, I guess you play the Fang Fighter just for the sake of it. Wait, what are we doing? Are you going to play the Ruthlessness? That doesn't seem like what you want to do. Admittedly, it kind of forces Quinlan to attack it. Sorta. All right, we're going to claim. Honestly, I think you play the Fang Fighter. I don't know that blowing up a Hotshot Blaster is necessary at this stage. It does change the math, but I think you need the threat on the board in order to ensure that you're continuing to apply pressure. I don't think our Quinlan player would just claim after that, would they? There's a world where they might, because then you could run, say, the Guerrilla Soldier into the and then they still get an attack with the Plo Koon. Because you need the to, and this is probably what our Phasm player was thinking, you need the series officer to clean up the Plo Koon. You can't let that sit there. But again, the issue is you're just not presenting any threats. We drew Benthic and Arm to the Teeth, which is not changing much of the math. Plo Koon is off the board, so only 5 damage represented right now, barring a gun. But I see a Falcon in hand. We saw a Surprise Strike earlier. Looks like we're getting said Surprise Strike. Hitting him for 5 puts you at 21 of 34. I'd be lying if I said I thought about the contents of Lake Country Phasma a whole hell of a lot, but I'm not sure what the gas is here. So we got a Cassian. Either Cassian or Quinlan's probably going to clean up Benthic, I think. It depends on what our Phasma player's next play is. Yeah, we get the ping here, which doesn't... well, if Target Town's still live, you don't have to hit it. There's always a chance that players are just, like they know, but they haven't marked it. But if that Target Town's still live, I anticipate it's going to snipe the Benthic. Push 6 on base and put you at 27, which means that you are representing a huge amount of damage. And at only 12, even if you put that Arms to the Teeth on there, it's just not that much damage. 3 to base. 24. There's another Arm to the Teeth. I don't think there's a claim. Wait, what? Interesting. Plays out a Cassian, but doesn't attack with it. I mean, the Falcon means that you can kill the Benthic right out of the gate and then trade into the Disabling Fang Fighter. There is a Fireball, too. That does the same thing. And this also prevents all the damage. So we're just playing this very defensively, which I can respect. If you don't know, as I'm in this position right now, if you're not clear on what your opponent is doing, it's tough, because if you don't know what your opponent is doing, sometimes it is worth just playing it safe and being like, look, I'm going to kill every single thing you play to ensure that I don't get, oops, you got me. The challenge is sometimes that allows them to get back in the game, playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And in this case, it was in fact enough. Oh, by the way, there's a Warcraft poster in the background there behind our Quinlan player, it looks like. I'm trying to figure out which one that is. Sure looks like a Warcraft poster. Well, the Warhammer people are going to be upset. Can't quite tell. All right, GG. We're going to stick with this one because this is where we're at. Yeah, I just don't see a way that Phasma takes this matchup, to be blunt. I can say that because I'm not live casting it. I mean, I'm live casting it, but this is going to go up later. And I don't have to make it seem like this is going to be neck and neck or something. I think they're going to get cooked. It's an interesting choice. Like I said, a lot of people have been trying to make Phasma work. I kind of wish Phasma would work, but I've been talking about this in a few different contexts. But I think a lot of the things we've been seeing with set 4, set 5, and we presumably will see with set 6 and obviously set 7, is a reset of the power level for the game as a whole. There was a statement that was attributed to the devs, and I don't know if this is true, because it was one of those, oh, well, I heard the devs say this, but I never heard the original context, that set 7 is supposed to be what the devs always envisioned the game to be, as compared to now, I guess, which... it's a weird thing to say for a lot of reasons. And without the original context, it's hard to know. So we'll have to see. But I suspect it's really... I thought that was a direct statement from the devs. It allegedly was. But I've never found the source of where that came from. Everything I've seen has been the repeated statement of that. I don't necessarily see something wrong with it, if that's true. It's just, is that it could be interpreted oddly. We'll put it that way. I don't want to go into a tirade about it right now because I don't care. We'll see. It's an odd statement to make. I'm pretty sure the devs did confirm that, for example, like Boba and Sabine and a number of other things were dramatically changed relatively close to printing. And I think if everything was in the original context at 1, 2, and 3, starting year 2 is like, okay, well, now we get to reset everything. And the way these games work is just, you can't possibly, as the devs, account for everything. It's just not possible. There's too many combinations and permutations. And when everybody gets it, or gets it in their hands, there's too much to be done. So, like, I don't doubt it that it was a statement the devs made, but is it accurate? Like, did it actually happen is the question. That I don't know. All right, we're getting pings traded back and forth. A more aggressive start. Interestingly enough, the Phasma player chose not to pass. They're just accepting the ping, but Quinlan notably did not Tarkin Town the Kylo. Based on what we saw in Game 1, I don't think that the Tarkin Town was ever used unless it was used and they just never marked it or something. Fireball with the ping. So that's just going to create their own Kylo's tie, essentially. And give our Quinlan player a wide range of control. That's a Sith Trooper. It is, in fact, a card. It will become a 4-3 thanks to the Fireball, at minimum. And it looks like Sabine is going to trade in. Quinlan once again playing the control role here. And like I said in the first game, I kind of... It's fine. It's completely reasonable. It's going to bother me. What Warcraft poster is that behind Patrick, the Quinlan player? If it ends up being a Warhammer poster, people are going to be flipping out in the comments. Yeah, well, we do have a TIE dagger in hand. Our Phasma player is surely going to be happy about that. Yep. That's going to snipe the Fireball. I think that there's a Daring Raid and a Ruthless Raider and a double Daring Raid, maybe? I can't tell what the middle event is. But Quinlan is probably unhappy with an empty board right now. Can certainly find ways to rebuild, but Anakin's not unheard of out of Quinlan, but I don't think it's standard at this point in time. Looks like a slightly altered Battle for Azeroth. That could be true. To me, I was thinking Warcraft 1, 2, or 3. I wasn't thinking about WoW, but WoW makes a lot more sense. Yeah, that does look a lot like Battle for Azeroth. I mean, there's definitely some differences, notably the orc being bald and no plume or as many accoutrements on the footman's helmet. Get a claim there. Yeah, Force Throw, not super impressive with only a... Oh, it's a Ruthlessness that was in hand. Force Throw, not super impressive with the... No, the Ruthlessness was just drawn, I think. Ruthlessness and the... Yeah, so it is another Daring Raid then. A Kylo's tie. Rowing the Daring Raid. I guess I don't hate it. It's going to be a very, very awkward turn for our Phasma player. Not a ton of lines. You will be able to activate Phasma a couple times because you can play the Kylos tie. Yeah, just going to get in for 2. That makes sense. There's no point playing it early. I don't love Ruthlessness. It does help with the burn strat, and overall, Lake Country kind of makes sense in the general context of this deck because if you're a burn deck, having that health buffer allows you to just put on the pressure and just kind of, all gas, no brakes sort of situation. But I don't know if it's better than having an aspect. Little Phasma ping action. That is an enormous Captain Phasma. I know it's because the leaders rotated when they put the card up, but it's just funny because it's like half the screen. I have to imagine there's a Plo Koon in hand. Like, this entire setup screams Plo Koon. But because it's resource 5, like, you can't Plo Koon if you play a card. What are we doing here? We got a Fireball, so we're going to ping the Tie Dagger, probably run over the Kylos tie, I imagine. That does stem some of the bleeding. You can take a hit for 4 and not feel terrible about this. Just, like if you don't have another play, well, you can make one more play because they have to deploy, then they can attack. Wait, did you claim that early? Isn't Phasma a 5 deploy? Am I wrong? Or is Phasma a 6 deploy? It's a 5 deploy. Interesting. So we got a Raider coming out. So the Phasma not coming out surprises me a little bit because you're not... Like, you probably get 8 damage out of her. You swing in that turn. Like, once that your Quinlan player demonstrates they are not going to... they're not going to play a Plo Koon by playing a card. You can get her in, but now you're going to get Plo Kooned. Down goes Phasma. Phasma looks awesome. But as with many characters in Star Wars, a long history of showing a cool-looking character and then they do precisely dick in the movies. It's a whole lot of nothing. Biggest letdown in the movie. She could have been so cool. Well, like, every trilogy has had it. Boba Fett arguably did, like, not a whole lot in the originals. Maul did nothing. Yes, he killed Qui-Gon, but, like, I don't know why people are attached to Qui-Gon. Like, at all. I felt nothing for him at all. Admittedly, I hated The Phantom Menace. That is far and away the worst movie. All right, so we get a second Raider. This is a lot of damage. This is a race that hypothetically the Phasma player could win, right? This is 7. There's still 4 coming into... You'll be at 15, 22, 29. Depending on how initiative shakes out, there's a world where Phasma can take this race. What you know about midichlorians. God. I remember at the time everybody hated that idea. I can't wait. It's only a matter of time until everybody comes around to always have, like, I always loved the sequels. It's only a matter of time. Oh, Surprise Strike will absolutely change this math. Get cooked. Kind of like the movies. That's exactly what happened to Phasma, right? Surprise Strike off Quinlan Voss. Going pew 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 with some blasters. Cooking Phasma. On the beachfront property. It was Quinlan on the beachfront property with the hotshot blaster. Say we solved the murder mystery. Ruthlessness coming down. What is going on? Dog is having a weird dream. He's making some funny noises behind me. I've always loved the prequels. Like, I don't fault anybody for loving the prequels. If you, like, I'm not going to piss in someone's Cheerios over something. Like, I don't care anymore about, like, if you like the prequels, or you, like, not you specifically, but Royal you like the prequels, more power to you. I fucking hated them. I think they are far and away the worst Star Wars movies. Almost, not exclusively, because there are a lot of problems. But I really did not like the lightsaber fights, like, at all. They reminded me of, well, I guess not reminded me. Let's put it this way. I was reminded of those lightsaber battles in the prequels when I was watching the Michael Bay Transformers movies, where it's just close to unintelligible and looks ridiculous. If somebody likes that style of double surprise strike, GG, got him. If somebody likes that style of lightsaber battles, like, I can't say, oh no, you're wrong. We got Ackbar Data Vault, Kira Data Vault. All right, well, we're going to Ackbar. All right, all you Ackbar fans out there. This ought to get your motors running. Kickflip Ackbar. Not the one that, like, the kickflip Ackbar is down here, but not up here. He's shredding that scooter, it's true. So this is the Colorado Cantina crew. I have to imagine that that is one of their team members on stream right now, given the sleeves. I gotta be honest, I don't think the Ackbar deck is very good. I don't know what it beats. It feels like it gets smoked by every aggro deck, or should. I can understand what it does in the fact that it generates like a gazillion X-Wings if your opponent dirtles around for a million years. But here, for example, like, say you timely reinforcements, and your opponent just hasn't deployed Kira. They barrage and just kill 6 of them, because they're all going to take 1, and then you can barrage, deal 1 to all of them. That means they're not necessarily killing anything else, and if you have a wedge out, it makes the math weird. But you could then counter with, oh, well, you generate a bunch of X-Wings, and then after they barrage whatever, you timely reinforcements for a million guys, and maybe that works, because I think that Ackbar wants to see more dirtily matchups, such as Kira, but I don't know. Does not spark joy, is how I feel about Ackbar. What is that life count? Is that an electronic life counter on the Ackbar player's side? Because, like, we've invented cell phones. Okay, I have to comment on this. That is the weirdest way to draw cards. Why did you do that, Arkira player? I count stuff out like opening hand. I don't think I've ever seen someone count out their draw for turn like that. Like, 1 at a time, like draw 1 or put 1 out, draw, put 1 out, draw, but not like pick up half the deck, count out 2 cards, put it back, then draw. That's just abnormal. Ooh, I like this Leia play, though. This Leia play is good. Slows down the Kira player by tapping the Pershing. Not only do they not get a card, they also do not get to accelerate with the Super Laser Tech this turn. Does it matter that much? Possibly not, because you're just going to first action Pershing, kill it, whatever, or trade it into the Leia, most likely. Excuse me. I got the dill pickle sandwich at Wawa, and it was pretty good, but I thought it's ranch now. But I remember I could have sworn that it was like horseradish before. Yeah, I thought it was good, but I was expecting, I didn't realize until I hit order, and I'm like, oh crap, it says ranch, not horseradish. Like I was gonna eat it no matter what, and it was good. But I remember it being like having a little bit of a kick to it. But maybe that was like the seasonal one a few weeks ago, a month ago, or whatever. Pickle one is a new special one. Yeah, but there was a dill pickle horseradish one like a month ago or something, or 2 months ago. I do drink coffee, but I don't like churros to begin with. Ooh, we get a sanctioner shuttle to capture the old Pershing, a play you love to see. We're getting the early deploy from Kira here. Pickles aside. Putting Pickles aside for the moment. Akbar's certainly in a pickle. Are they, though? Why is there a Pokemon card? What is that? I want to know what that Pokemon card denotes. For I swear to God, I know it was Dungeons and Javas from earlier when we looked at it, but like I thought it was Dungeons and Jawas for a second. Wait, what are we doing here? So we Traitorous and X-Wing. That'll get the Pershing back. Akbar was activated, but what was it activated on? It must have been the Kira. I was too busy talking about pickles. Like, where did this X-Wing come from? All right, discard a Grogu to the delegate. I have to imagine the Akbar player knows. Okay, we're doing it again. Why are you drawing cards like that? It's fine, but like, it's distracting me. He exhausts his own delegate. Yeah, that's what I'm confused by. You would. So what I was starting to say, and then I got distracted by the card drawing, is that as the Akbar player, I would expect like, okay, you're playing, and this is not meant to be insulting, but like you're playing the weirder deck, right? You're going to know your interactions way better than I am because you've been playing your deck. Since it's not a meta deck, it's not like, oh, well, I know you do this to me every once, well, like this is the sequence and how it goes. So in that case, like, why did they end up with an X-Wing? If you tapped your delegate, you should have the X-Wing, which means that you should not have killed the delegate with the Kira. I am confused. And admittedly, I've mixed up stuff before. I've looked away because the dog was doing something. All right, so we're going to shift arenas here to snipe the Pershing. I don't hate that play. But Power of the Dark Side is going to make the blue leader hate themselves a little bit. Get him for 7. Dude, that is a straight up electronic counter. Officially, I think they're not allowed, right? Are they? What is this Pokemon card doing? I'm assuming it's Pokemon and not like Elestrals. I'm very confused. But yeah, I don't know if the electronic life count. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to use cell phones. Technically, like officially, obviously no one cares. Or maybe they have to be in airplane mode. I know some games do that. The whole intent is so that like somebody can't get text messages advising them on what to do. You got a Kira, play it against Kira. Super Laser Blast, Vader, no glory. Technically, Kira could trade into the Kira, but we're on 7 resources, so I have to imagine we're naming Vader. Delays it for a turn. You aren't supposed to use cell phones. Yeah, I mean, It's to remove the air of anything that could be complained about. And the fact of the matter is people will complain no matter what. So I don't know. I don't care. I'm still of the opinion everything should be written down. It should always be on paper, both players at all times. Shouldn't even bother with putting it on the base, but that isn't great for streaming for obvious reasons. So I do appreciate when they do that. Get a little R2 action here. Agent Callus, dude, this card, I've always liked this card. All right, there are multiple things this Kira player is doing that is tilting me off the face of the earth. First, it was the card drawing. Now it's putting damage beside the character. No, put the damage on the character. That is so annoying. All right, I'm sorry. Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It obviously isn't a big enough issue for our Okay, so we deployed Akbar. He ran over the Pike Sentinel. Wait, what? Hold on. So you played the Pike Sentinel. Doesn't Akbar only create an X-Wing if the thing actually gets tapped? Correct me if I'm wrong, he should not have gotten a second X-Wing there, right? You have to exhaust the unit to get the X-Wing. Okay, yeah, chat's confirming. So I'm not insane here. I mean, at least this doesn't prove the insanity. We'll put it that way. Those Metal Fab tokens are huge. I like them. I talked about this earlier when they were being used as base damage on a different stream. I don't like them. I think the tokens would be better if they were double-sided with the same thing. I hate when people fiddle with the damage. And it's like, oh, well, I have to do all this arithmetic to figure it out. And it's just like, or just use like what we're looking at now, where it's just a number. It's an if you do trigger. Exactly. Agent Callus going to trade there, keeping Kira alive for a bit longer. Tech coming down. Super Laser Blast. We knew it was there. It's a big enough threatening board state. I have to assume that the tech was played as a bait. Because if that was like, okay, I need to get this out here so that I have some kind of threat, that's a problem for our Akbar player. Because now, with a clear board, you need multiple threats or a potential Avenger blows you up. You know they have a Vader. Because we saw it earlier. I think we just saw a Vigilance, and I didn't catch the other cards in hand. There's the wedge. Card that I honestly would have thought would have been insane, but it's going to get eaten alive by a Vader. You know, that classic scene from the movies where Vader just punches Wedge right in the neck. See, like, this is a reasonable thing to count out the cards, but counting it out for every draw step feels insane. Yo, that's a Judge Snoke. That's pretty dope. Get a Pershing. Get a Hyloban. Hyloban's probably going to get pumped. Vader's going to, as mentioned, punch Wedge right in his PP. Classic scene from the movies. One that gets replayed on YouTube all the time. Good boy's still snoozing. He's a good boy. Yep, shielding guys up. What do we got here now? That does not look like a great hand for our Akbar player. There is the Hail Mary chance of a choose sides getting them back in this game, but I'm not going to lie. I don't love where this is going. Vader beating Wedge in a Dance Dance Revolution is my favorite scene. It's a classic scene. It's the highlight, one would say, of the entire series. Imagine if every lightsaber duel in every movie was replaced with a dance battle. Specifically on Dance Dance Revolution. Just imagine. I feel like that has to exist. Like, somewhere on the internet, someone was compelled to do this. In every sense of the word compelled. Because I don't think anyone would do that of their own volition. They use the Force to predict the arrows. That's why Wedge lost. He's not Force sensitive. Duh. No wonder Wedge lost. He can't use the Force to predict what's happening. All right, we get to choose sides on the damage Vader. Yeah, we're just going to go face and, like, you're going to die anyway. 5. I think there was still a no glory in hand. It's a vigilance. Okay, this is weirder. That is weirder. Why did you do that? Oh my god. This entire game, this entire game is just like design. These players are personally trolling me. Why would you pick up an arbitrary number of cards and then just flip them over? What are we doing? Yeah, what are we doing? What is happening right now? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Oh my god. I had to literally make note of that because that entire exchange was insane. Between the counting out of the draw step to what was the other thing? I can't even remember all of the weird things that have happened. Do this? Like, what are we doing? I'm so glad we watched this game. This is great. Okay, so at least we didn't do it a second time. See, we're learning. We learned our lesson. Don't do that. So on a more serious note, don't do that because technically, I don't know exactly what the rules for SWU are, but I played games where that could earn you a game loss. Technically, both players end up with the same amount of information, so I think in SWU, it's just like a warning. Although I guess if you already had warnings, that could escalate into something else. But other games are very, very stringent about stuff like that, where it's like, no, you messed up here. You can't do that. So we're getting a blue leader. It's a warning if both players saw that card. Yeah, that's what I'd imagine. In SWU, that they're fairly lenient. If Akbar solely saw that U-Wing reinforcement's a game loss, yeah. I could see that being the case. A game loss feels extreme if it was not like a first offense thing, given the way the rest of the SWU rules are structured. But it doesn't, like, if you tell me it's a game loss, I'm not surprised. Uh-oh. They're ambushing wrong. Technically, it doesn't ready anymore. That conversation came up earlier. We're going to pop the Pershing. Makes sense. You're at 27, though, and your Kira opponent has, like, infinite resources. I mean, play cleanly won't be an issue if you just don't do shenanigans. I mean, yeah, just don't be a dingus. And again, we're not crapping on any particular player. It was just funny for when people on YouTube inevitably go bananas in the comments. I don't care. If you are going to go nuts, go nuts. I don't care. It's not going to bother me. I'm not going to lie. I don't expect to see Akbar at Worlds. Well, I take that back. There will probably be Akbar players at Worlds. I didn't see anything in the spoiler that immediately jumped out to me that, like, yeah, I want to play this in Akbar, but I gotta be honest, I have not played a single game of Akbar where I'm like, yeah, I want to play this game again. I have no idea what the debate there was. Why are we counting out the cards? We have one player who will always count them out, and then the other player who refuses to count out cards. Jesus, you can't. Oh my God. I'm going to put this up on YouTube later, and people are going to be pissed because they'll be like, why are you crapping on these It really, I'm going to keep repeating it just because people won't believe me. And now they won't because I'm repeating it. But like, this is funny to me. Like, it's legitimately funny. This would tilt me. Oh, it was the damage next to the characters. That was the other thing, which they since changed. But all of these things would tilt me. I'd see my opponent do it, and I'd just be like, what is happening? All right, Barrage. That has to be game. Now, you can tap it with Akbar. Stall for a turn. Yeah, we're going to scoop him up. Scoop him up. Even if you tap it down, that means there's an X-Wing in space, and you have multiple threats, and like, yeah, you got me. GG. There's no Super Laser Blast. All right. Let's see what other things are going on while they're sideboarding. Ooh, we got Vader Yellow versus Kira Data Vault, but this is not looking good for Vader. I cannot quite tell exactly how much damage is on the Kira base, but I have to imagine it's near 0. 9? You think that's a 9? You don't think that could be an 8? Regardless, it's single digits. I will confirm that it appears to be single digits. And Kira just claims, and we go on to the next game. Game over is accurate. When Snoke is on the board, it's bad. Now, this is a Vader-favored matchup, but it is absolutely not unwinnable for Kira. And it kind of just comes down to draw ramp and then draw either of Overwhelming Barrage or Devastating Gunship. You hit either of those a turn early, and the Vader player's cooked. Now, this is game 1. And we're going on to the next game. All right. Where are there 2 dice on the base? 23. I can actually make out those numbers. I do not like... I don't mind dice, but I have the little holder for it. I don't like 20-sided dice. I think it's way too easy to knock those over. Anything with, like, anything beyond a 6-sided dice, I think needs a holder or something, because otherwise, like, somebody bumps a table, and it's way too easy to go, uh-oh. Was I at this or was I at that? It's way too easy for that to happen. We'll probably come back to this game. Just checking the other streams. Tell me they're not all... Okay, they have regular tables in the back. I was concerned for a second. I thought they were being forced to play. Wait, they are playing at the Wargaming tables? Because you can see the little standees. Oh, no. I've played on that before. It's really awkward. It's just uncomfortable. Because you have to stand. You have to stand, and they are also too wide. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to watch Akbar again. I wanted Akbar to be good because it would be funny. And when there was potential for Alex to play Akbar, I was like, okay, this might be a thing. And then after I tried it, I'm like, I don't think this is very good. This does not seem good. Alex better come to Blue Bell with Akbar. He's going to 100% play Han. There's no reality where he's playing Akbar. He has not said as much, but he strikes me as somebody that does not have fun playing bad decks. And there are people who absolutely love playing bad decks, even to the point where they are playing bad decks exclusively because they are bad decks, and then that gives them more pleasure playing the game. I am not one of those people, and I don't know, because he's not said as much, but it feels like he is also one of those people where he would actually have less fun as a result of playing it. As soon as the Vader game is ready, we're switching over because I can't watch Akbar again. Akbar is like, he's giving me indigestion. I don't know what is Akbar good into? I would have thought all these, like, Akira seems like it, air quotes, should be a good matchup. You have timely reinforcements. You have home one. Blue Leader's a good card. But, like, I don't know. It seemed pretty textbook for Kira in the last game. They're still shuffling. They'll be ready momentarily. I do like this overlay overall. Like, it looks pretty clean. I think it banks hard on your opponent playing weirdly into it. Yeah, I just don't even know. It's one of those things that, like, okay, you play weird, air quotes weird, and therefore you lose the game. But, like, what is the line that, like, what are they doing? What does your opponent have to do inefficiently for you to pull ahead in the game? Because Kira, it just feels like, well, I'm going to barrage you eventually, right? Like, eventually I'll flip Kira and barrage away your whole board. And then it's like, okay, you answer with timely. And depending on what turn it is, I play Snoke and you just lose? I don't know. All right, we're going to switch over to this because I can't. I think in most decks, just play the normal game plan. Akbar can't do anything. Yeah, I would kind of agree. I just don't know what, like I said, I don't know what Akbar does well. All right, leading off with a first order tie. That's what you're supposed to do. You're also supposed to do this. Make another guy. We've got idiots. Got 2 idiots, to be exact. 3, if you count me. So, no turn 1 Inferno 1, or Inferno 4, rather, is the ideal. You don't want to see that. Now the question is, does Kira have a ramp here? It looks like they do. I don't know what... Yep, resupply. So you don't want to see that because a barrage... Oh, no! No, not like this. So unless you have Swoop Down in hand, this is bad. The reason this is bad is if you play the Victor Leader, it means that all your 1 health guys, notably the First Order tie and the tie token, will die immediately when Kira barrages. You can recover from that, but you really don't want to do this if you can help it. You kind of want, like, literally any other 3-drop. I love when people do this. I love when people do this. I mean, it's completely reasonable so that you can see the cards. It's just funny. We do not have the barrage. We have, the client. I'm not going to lie. Our Vader player is breathing a sigh of relief right now. That's exactly what you wanted to see. Well, maybe not the client, but, like, you wanted anything but a barrage or a devastating gunship, and neither of those are coming down this turn. The only question is, are we going to get the Kira deploy now? Because you could deploy this turn, thereby setting up something for next turn. We do get the deploy. So now the question becomes, do we get an early claim from the Vader player? Because it actually doesn't matter. So, well, if you barrage, no, yeah, it doesn't matter. You don't have a clone ship. You don't have a stolen AT hauler. So you can't get a large enough barrage to kill multiple things. And even if you could, you're not removing everything from the board. So something is barrageable, and it will be able to remove the Victor Leader, which kills off 2 of your guys, and then you can start killing other things. Like, it won't be a clean sweep, but you'll be left with probably just a single tie token. is the expectation here. Clone ship? Clone ship would be really good. That looks like a clone ship. So now Kira must have either barrage or they need a Fel. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 clone ship thanks to the Victor Leader. And you can't barrage kill the Victor Leader clone ship because one thing will survive. You could, but then it leaves them. Yeah, you probably still do that. You assign 2 to the Victor Leader. You assign 4 there. 3, 4, 5. No, that won't even work. You won't have enough because the Mining Guild tie will survive. So we're going to client the Victor Leader. That isn't the end of the world. I think you just get in. It's whether you think they have a removal for the clone ship and they're trying to set you up, or you just get in for the damage. And I think I would just get in for the damage, depending on what they have in hand. I mean, so there is the barrage. So obviously the Victor Leader is going to eat it. Where is the other damage getting assigned? So 1 there. That's dead. That's dead. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the clone ship. I mean, it's probably best. This is where the math gets really complicated, just trying to be like, okay, well, if I do this and then this happens. Yeah, they're already dead. Yeah, so we're going to remove the token. Looks like we're going to leave 2 on the clone ship, and that makes sense. The clone ship will be able to grow because it can obviously get in. I don't think there's anything they can do for 1 resource that's going to make any difference. Yeah, and then we have 2 on the, or should have 2 on the clone ship. Yeah, and there wasn't enough damage for you to kill the clone ship. I think they're debating whether... Oh, it was between 1 and 2, and they were trying to figure it out. All right. Yeah, there's no way to remove that, so you can safely build up your board again. It looks like there's a Bazeene in hand, which always feels real bad. It's like, all right, you got me. I just couldn't play it in time. I've not been great with playing my Bazeenes, truthfully. I've been very lucky with just, like, they just didn't have it. I would not Bazeene here. Like, oh, no good to be dead. Interesting. So post board, those are still in. That's the first thing I reach for to take out. It does matter here. Not to a huge degree. I think our Kira player is at 13. So there's a Victor Leader. That immediately pumps the ship back up. So get him for 5, because I presume there was a claim. Put you at 18, if life totals are to be believed. And now we're back up to a 6/6 clone ship. The important thing here is to not go all in. It's not out of the realm of possibility that the Kira player has entrenched. So the client is going to be super obnoxious here. I don't like doing this, having extra dice and stuff on the table, because it just causes things to get confusing. Yeah, let's not do that. I thought it was a second barrage for a second. So Bazeene and Lurking Tie. Got to take the Lurking Tie, right? Question mark? Yeah. Draw a card. Draw a card. There we go. Okay. People always forget. Trying to will them to do it. I know I forget all the time. Oh, a barrage. I think you barrage first action. Like your first action. They have 3 resources. They could have like Perilous, I guess. Power of the Dark Side. I think you just want to get rid of the client. I guess it doesn't really matter that much. But I would want to reduce their actions so that way you can deploy Vader more safely. Like, I think you... no, I don't like this. I don't like this. I would... If you're going to put Vader in a ship, it's got to go in that tie, but I think our Vader pilot's going to go ground. Oh, if you get entrenched right now. Or confiscated. I mean, confiscate isn't as bad. Confiscate isn't as bad. Oh, they claimed. All right. Looks like our Kira player claimed, so it's safe. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 14, 14. That's got to be lethal, right? They're over 20 because they needed 2 dice, so this has to be lethal. It's a 10, 10, 12, 14. Yeah, it's 14. 16 with barrage. Yeah, Super Laser Blast. Turn away. GG. If they claimed that Vader deploy is fine, otherwise you just go ground. I think I would have personally barraged early. There might have been a world where, well, there was no opportunity to Bazine. But I might have barraged early just to force them to do something. Would that have messed up the math? Since we can't tell exactly what the life total was for the Kira player, maybe there's a world where, like, you don't want to do that because you don't want to let on that you actually have... Like, if you needed the barrage to be lethal, maybe you don't let them know in the event that they have something. With only 3 resources up, the amount of things that they can do is extremely limited. So, like, say you barrage and then they entrench. Oh, they're going to entrench... I think they're going to entrench anyway. Like, if they have an entrenched in hand, they're always entrenching the clone ship. I don't think they're ever entrenching other thing, because the clone ship is going to represent more damage. Regardless, like I said, Vader, this is a good matchup. We did see the barrage. We did see the ramp. Didn't quite come out in the curve that Kira was looking for, I think. But overall, like, they did see the tools that you'd want to see, and as you can tell, it didn't really matter. Sorry, checking something in Discord, trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. As the players are shuffling up for the next game. I'm not sure when I'm going to be playing for Galactics yet. I mean, it's still early, obviously, but, like, nothing's screaming to me, play this deck. Admittedly, I haven't looked that deeply at the spoiler, but I can tell you things it's not going to be. It's not going to be Ackbar. That's not in the lineup right now, and I don't think it's going to be. All right. Phone is blown up. So we get the 1/1 opener. Exactly what you want to see as Vader. Get a Power of the Dark Side. Yep. Guess what? That don't stop it. Oh, you got to leave the foil one. Yes, leave the foil one. The shinies. Shiny Republic Y-Wing gets in. Ooh, Lurking Tie. So this is an interesting one because there's an argument to not play Lurking Tie on curve. The reason being is, like, now it gives them the opportunity to actually deal with it if they have an answer and they know they might have to row some of the other answers, or, you know, they play a Devastating Gunship, they play an Inferno 4, and then they can run in. As it is now, you just, they're not doing anything that you care about yet. They've basically taken 2 turns off, turn 1 and turn 2. So we came into game 1 late, and this was not happening, where you had to shift over thanks to all of the bodies. And the fact that this is happening again does not bode well for Kira. Now, we do get the earlier Victor, which, again, I'm not a huge fan of. But because you have the Lurking Tie, you have innate overwhelming barrage protection. So it's like, okay, you barrage, who cares? I'm getting there anyway. And that's pretty much how this is going to go. Kira's in a rough spot at this stage. This is why I kind of want to play Vader for Worlds. I don't know if it will be the correct choice. We'll see. So, once again, there is a world where you just claim here as the Vader player. Like, if you have Barrage in hand, it might be worth the 4 damage just to claim, kill the Kira, put them off a Barrage for another turn. Because there's basically nothing they can do that's going to stop the onslaught. And if they have to play a guy, they claim, you swing in for a bunch, and then next turn they have to first action Barrage, and then you can just stick Vader in the Lurking Tie. They're kind of cooked. Again, entrenched with standing. But we're going to kill everything but the Lurking Tie, it looks like, which is the correct choice here. The only choice. You can still Barrage back, but you're going to eat a gazillion damage. Okay, we know good to be dead. Again, I board those out, but it's not like they are useless. And if you're main decking the Lurking Ties, maybe you didn't need to take cards out. But we can probably play another guy. Oh no, the pass. So it's Lurking Tie token. This is vulnerable. This is vulnerable because if they have an answer to the tie, Lurking Tie, and you have to like stick Vader in the token, you don't love that. That's not the position you want to be in. There is a devastating gunship. With 2 resources up, there is still the threat of entrenched. It's the only way that they're going to be able to deal with the Lurking Tie as it stands. The threat here, do we confiscate? Confiscate or entrench is going to feel terrible. Just 0 fear. Show me you got it. Oh, there was a claim. Yikes. Barrage to kill. I think you kill the... Do you kill? It's Barrage for 9. Yeah, 9 is enough. 9 is enough. Never mind. Take 11. 12. No, 13, because it's 2, 4, 9, 10, 11. 11, yes. I was double counting the raid. And, like, you have to have entrenched here. It's literally the only... Well, you could confiscate, but then you still have to find a way to deal with the tie. And you took a hit for 11 plus the other damage. You're 20 whatever right now. Architens will remove it. That's actually a great answer. Taking the resource. That is a great answer. Architens, I'll admit, I forgot about. But you're just going face here. I don't think there's any reason to derp around with trying to remove the Architens. We don't know how many cards the Vader player has in hand. Looks like 2, maybe 3. It's got to be Cad Bane. Whoa. I don't know that I'd play that. Or maybe you play it and just don't capture? Wait, what? Why? I think you just go face. You need to close this game out. The Cad Bane is actually kind of funny because if you just play it as a 7/7, they have to have a very specific answer to it, and they have to answer it first, so this other tie is getting in. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's going to take up basically your entire turn. Maybe that's a Bazine and not a Cad Bane, but the Cad Bane would be kind of spicy. The Cad Bane would be spicy. Wait, did you pass? Play nothing? That can't be right. What are you holding? Did I completely misunderstand your hand? That can't be right. Imagine that the Kira player plays a Snoke right now. Or an Avenger. Not like this. Wait, okay, hold on. If that is a Cad Bane, is the intent to capture the Snoke? See, I don't like this because now, like, the Kira player is just going to claim, right? The Kira player is going to claim, and now they have an opportunity to just remove the Cad, get their Snoke back, and lock you back out again. Now, it's entirely possible that they rode all their Avengers, their Super Laser Blast. Maybe they boarded them out. That looks like a Fell the Dragon. And now you're locked out again. Honestly, I think you just play the Snoke naked, or the Cad into the empty board. We waylay. Okay. It forces the Snoke back down next turn. That's a devastating gunship, though. So now you have to... I think our Vader player's cooked. Yeah, like, Snoke is going to clean those up. You don't care. You could put a shield on the gunship, is what I think is happening. Now, they just claimed. That's a Vader tie. Victor leader. I think you needed to play... Either capture the Architens with Cad, or just or kill it like you did, and then just play Cad. I think if you're going to play Cad, it's better to not capture, just kill it. They have to interact with it, and that means that the Snoke wouldn't come down that turn, I don't think. I'm not sure how many resources they have, but either way, we're going to get the Snoke now, I imagine. There's literally no reason not to do it. That cleans up the two ties. Vader can do 0 damage. Oof. Looking good with that Vader in lurking tie, but Kira able to find the line to come back with the Architens. There were a couple things that I think needed to get cleaned up here that possibly would have given the Vader player the win. But Kira did have the answers. What? That is, I think that's Victor 3, which makes it a 1 attack unit, which just dies to the gunship. Because it's a 1/3 right now. And just kill it with a gunship. For some reason, I think our Vader player was assuming that was going to live. Ouch. Got a no good to me dead. This is looking much closer to game 1 than game 2 at this point. It doesn't look like there's any cards in the Vader player's hand. Gonna claim with 1 million resources up, so I think we can safely assume that is the case. And likely drawing 2 1-drops here. Not what you want to be doing. Yikes moment. Big yikes moment. Yeah, what do we got? I really don't like this card in Invader, personally. I know a lot of people swear by it, but it's just a vanilla 3/3 right now. Because there's no other spaceship to enable the exalt. Oh, no. Yeah, this game is over. We're just playing it out for the sake of posterity, I guess. Like a reinforcement walker online. We have a Boshak. Ooh, that's spicy. Odd. So we draw 2. It is a 4/4, though, and that means that the gunship trades with it. The gunship trades with it. Oh, no, it doesn't. Excuse me. Because of the Snoke. The gunship just eats it. Regardless, like, what do? You play out the first order tie? It doesn't matter. This game is over. I hate to see it. You hate to see it. Ooh, we got a Bazine coming out. Taking the barrage. I mean, realistically, it doesn't matter because as soon as the reinforcement walker gets a swing in, this game, I think the Kira player's at 22 right now. 23 maybe. And yeah, that's just too much damage to do from an empty board state with an active walker, with an active Snoke, with things that can actually trade into your guys. That looks like a Vader in hand. Vader unit. No good to be dead. All right. Slowing the healing down. 6 to base. Geonosis. I can't even think of any combination that gets you back in this game. Are we hardcasting the Geonosis? Geonosis to bounce Pershing? Inferno 4? I don't even know. I am at a loss. Scooping is what put you back? Well, the problem is it's game 3. Oh, the Kira player scooping? Yeah, that would absolutely get you back in the game. If your opponent just surrenders, that's one way to get back in the game. It is a proven method. If they scoop it up, you will win. Okay, so it's not a Vader. That might be a Kijimi, I think. Flame? Yeah, it doesn't. Replay Pershing. Replay. We're at 21. Play the client. That would be the ball game. Are we even going to do the next draw step? It seems we're doing the next draw step. All right. You know what's funny? Well, they're at 22. If Planetary Bombardment always did 12 and you could always choose, you could win this game. I was like, what card in the game could possibly do this? I really want our Vader player to play Final Showdown right now. Just for the lulz. That would be very funny. Shuttle, tie, I think. This is the hand. And that is not what you want to see. Can Vader ever win if Snoke hits the board and you don't have an immediate answer? Yes, I've done it. It requires really weird circumstances. Like, you'd still have to have Vader in a tie, regardless of what it is, because it doesn't get powered down. You could have a clone ship and a Victor leader. You could have Victor leader and some at least 2 health guy, like say a Geonosis patrol fighter, shuttles. So like you still have a board and they're at high level. Like say they play Snoke and they're just out of cards, or they play Snoke and they are sitting on a bunch of blanks, like phase 3 patrol or phase 3 trooper or something like that, where it's just, yeah, none of these cards matter. A lot of ties in the hand that aren't doing anything. So it is possible. It is possible, but it is extremely unlikely, especially since we saw the Architects clear the Vader on the Lurking Tie out. GG. GG. Kira takes it.